So we are discussing about Lord Shiva. He behaves in a particular way to attract that living entities, to give shelter to them. So there is a question like why Shiva is Shiva's uncivilized, devilish characters are never abominable because he teaches the sincere devotees of Lord how to practice detachment, mental enjoyment. Is called Mahadev, and also he wanted to attract certain living entities because they don't have any other shelter in this world. Lord Shiva want to give shelter to them. That's why he's putting the ashes of crematorium. He's having the snakes around his neck, and he's also what do you say, putting a garland of skulls. All these things is to help living entities who are in mode of ignorance to take shelter of him. Yes, he is also one of us. That helps them to come closer to Lord Shiva and they'll be elevated. So this is the formula 5. And nice interesting point Prabhupada makes here is that he is almost equal to Lord Vishnu, although he always associates with Maya, Durga. He is above the reactionary stage of three modes of mental nature, and although he is in charge of devilish characters in mode of ignorance, he is not affected by such association because he is always able to meditate on the Lord. That's why he is not affected by it. Even for us also, the success, even if Lord comes in front of us, we will not be able to connect to Him unless we are in a transcendental state. That's why we need to chant the holy name. That will help us to get connected to the Lord. Otherwise, not possible. Connection is through holy name. If you are able to meditate, focus on the holy name, when you are in the sitting in the morning, and you have really worked very hard to focus your mind on hearing the holy name, chanting very attentively, developing some feeling, then it is possible for us to connect to the Lord. We take darshan in front of the deities, then we'll be able to connect. Otherwise, not possible. Even Lord comes personally to our house also, will not be able to connect to Him. The connection is through hearing His glories and able to develop that state of consciousness. That is very important. That's why we need to do sadhana of chanting the Guru. There is no other way. Even so, all these problems are there. Now, maybe if I meet the Lord, everything will be solved. It will not be solved like that. We have to do sadhana properly. Then only it is possible. So here we are affected by the modes. Even Lord is there. Like deities are not different. In Dwapar Yuga, the deities were so much reciprocating with the people of Dwapar Yuga because the worship of Dwapar Yuga is deity worship, the process of perfection. And they were directly able to meet, talk to him and reciprocate, and Lord was also talking to them. Now, because they were already transcending the modes, now it is not possible, Kali Yuga, because the consciousness is very low. We are affected by so much of modes. And if we are able to transcend, we are able to overcome that, we will be able to connect to the Lord. We go to temple, we can directly see the Lord and Lord is smiling at us and is reciprocating. That is very much possible. Now in this state, it may not be possible. So he says, and Lord Shiva is always connected to the Lord. How? Because always meditating. Parvati is asking, Keno Payan, what are you chanting? What are you meditating upon? He says, Sri Rama Rama Rameti, Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranam Tattulem, Ramanam Varanam. I am, oh Rama, I am Rameti, I am relishing what? Ramanam. I am relishing the name of Ram. That is why he is able to, of course, he is transcendental because he is in a transcendental state. Only who are in transcendental state can perceive the Lord who is also beyond the modes, who is transcendental. Otherwise, not possible. That means if I am able to chant and I am able to transcend the modes, then I will be able to connect to the Lord. Otherwise, we are just affected by what is happening around in our house, in the office, around the society. This is so much affecting us because we have not connected to the holy name properly. We have that is the easiest, fastest, and only way in Kali Yuga. Very fast, also easy, also compared to other ages. We will be able to connect. We can transcend and connect to the Supreme Lord, who is also transcendental. The holy name is transcendental. We just have to focus on the holy, and that is what Lord Shiva is. Unfortunately, he is showing an example. That's why here Prabhupada is very clearly uncivilized devil never abominable because he teaches sincere devotees of Lord how to practice detachment from mental anger. And he says, unfortunate foolish persons, not knowing that Lord Shiva is engaged in his own self, laugh at him. Such foolish persons engage in maintaining the body, which is eatable by dogs, with dresses, ornaments, garlands, and ointments. This is what people are doing. They think, oh, what Lord Shiva is doing, you don't have dress only, he's just wearing some garland of skulls. They don't understand, array Lord Shiva's body is transcendental, and we, if somebody is laughing, his body is going to be perished, eaten by dogs. And Prabhupada is writing, Lord Shiva never accepts any luxurious dresses, garlands, or ornaments. But those who are addicted to the decoration of the body, which is finally eatable by dogs, very luxuriously maintain it by as a self. Such persons do not understand Lord Shiva, but they approach him for luxurious material comforts. Even the Lord Shiva himself is not interested, but the people who follow him there. There are two kinds of devotees of Lord Shiva. One class is a gross materialistic, seeking only bodily comforts from Lord Shiva, and other class desires to become one with him. They are mostly impersonalist and prefer to chant Shivoham, I am Shiva. And after liberation, I shall become one with Shiva. In other words, the karmis and jnanis are generally devotees of Lord Shiva, but they do not properly understand his real purpose in life. This is the problem. Sometimes the so-called devotees of Lord Shiva imitate him by using poisonous intoxication. Lord Shiva once swallowed an ocean of poison, and thus his throat became blue. The imitation Shivas try to follow him by indulging in poison, and thus they are ruined. The real purpose of Lord Shiva is to serve Lord Krishna, the soul of the soul. Lord Shiva desires that all luxurious articles such as nice garments, garlands, ointments, and ornaments, cosmetics be given to Lord Krishna because Krishna is the real enjoyer. Lord Shiva is keeping so much detachment. He said, I don't want anything. Lord Shiva refuses to accept such luxurious items himself because they are meant only for Krishna. However, since foolish persons do not know this purpose of Lord Shiva, they either laugh at him or profitlessly try to imitate him. Both are wrong. We should not imitate him. It's a highest degree. He has so much detachment. That's why he's behaving that way. And another point is he wanted to attract such living entities also towards him. So there are both aspects for him. One is to show how he is detached and how he want to prove that only Krishna is the enjoyer. Because Durga Devi, she is the personification of metal nature. She is his wife. That means everything in this metal world is under her control. That means he has everything, all the prosperity, whatever is there in the world, it is with Lord Shiva only. But he is not interested. He is interested in something transcendental, not in mundane material things, which is affected by three modes. And it says demigods like Brahma also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the control of material energy, which causes the creation of material world. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation. It's just showing off from external Lord Shiva. But internally is some other personality who's transcendental. Lord Shiva is the husband of Durga, the control of material nature. Durga is the personified material energy, and Lord Shiva, being her husband, is the control of material energy. Everything is under. He is also the incarnation of Moda Vignas and one of the three deities representing the Supreme Lord. As his representative, Lord Shiva is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is representing. He is very great, and his incarnation of metal enjoyment is an ideal example of how one should be materially untouched. One should therefore follow in the footsteps and be untouched by matter, not imitate his uncommon acts like drinking poison. So, what is more important is we should be untouched. So, how to be untouched? The only way is by with the help of holy name. So, we should be untouched by with the help of, and there is no other way. This is the only way that is recommended, and this is the only practical way for all of you. And further says that Maitra said, Diti was thus informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmana saying, just like a shameless public prostitute. Difference between a married wife and a public prostitute is that one is restrained in sex life by the rules and regulations of scriptures, whereas the other is unrestricted in sex life and is conducted solely by the strong sex urge. Due to her being pressed by Cupid, Diti became a prostitute. And the great sage Kashyapa, although very enlightened, became a victim of his prostitute wife. Such is the strong force of mental energy. Prabhupada is so heavy. Now, if you compare the standard of Diti to modern people, they you cannot even imagine. Understanding his wife's purpose, he was obliged to perform the forbidden act, and thus, after offering his obeisances upon worshipable fate, he lay with her in a secluded place. But it appears from the talks of Kashyapa with his wife that he was a worshipper of Lord Shiva. And although he knew that Lord Shiva would not be pleased with him for such a forbidden act, he was obliged to act by his wife's desire, and thus he offered his obeisances unto fate. He knew that the child born of such untimely sexual intercourse would certainly not be a good child, but Kashyapa could not protect himself because he was too obliged to his wife. In a similar case, however, when Thakur Haridas was tempted by a public prostitute in the dead of night, he avoided the allurement because of his perfection in Krishna consciousness. That is the difference between Krishna conscious person and others. Kashyap Muni was greatly learned and enlightened, and he knew all the rules and regulations of systematic life, and he failed to protect himself from the attack of sex desire. Thakur Haridas was not born of a Brahmana family, nor was he himself a Brahmana. Yet he could protect himself from such an attack due to his being Krishna conscious. Thakur Haridas used to chant the holy name of Lord 300,000 times daily. The only way to protect ourselves is with this only. The problem is very strong. That is, you see, when Lord Rama comes to Dandakaranya forest, Danda is the son of Ikshwaka, the last son. Ikshwaka had 100 sons. But he was not obedient to anything. He was very disobedient. And then he accepts Shukracharya as his guru. And what happens is he forcefully he enjoys the daughter of Shukracharya. Shukracharya curses. Okay, this forest where he was staying, Dandakaranya, this forest will be cursed, and he curses the forest. It will become very dangerous forest. No human or proper anybody stays there, looking only. And he also becomes he was cursed by Shukracharya. Now, this is because he wanted to selfishly enjoy. And whereas Lord Rama, he wanted to serve. There is no desire to enjoy. That is very important. The story tells how Lord is appearing to kill this the desire for enjoying in our heart, and how he is appearing in Kali Yuga in the form of holiness. Lord Ram comes and he delivers and he makes the Dandakar in the forest very nice. And there is one more demon, Virada. Radha means one who is always serving. And the best servant is Srimati Radharani. Radha means to serve. Aradhana. It comes the word Aradhana comes from Radha. Virada means he is not interested in service, he is interested in enjoy. Ram Lakshman Sita were going, he grabs Ram and first Sita. And Lord Ram becomes very sad. He says, "Oh, now the purpose of Kaikeyi is fulfilled. Now I am losing my wife." Then Lakshman reminds him, "Arey, don't cry, you are Supreme Lord. You can do it." And then Lord Ram tried to attack with different arrows and all. He leaves Sita and grabs Ram and Lakshman. Sita starts crying, "Oh, don't do anything to them. You can do anything to me," and all. And that time Ram and Lakshman takes their swords and cuts the hand of this Virada. It takes quite long time. And then he asks, "Who are you?" They say, "We are Ram and Lakshman." He says, "Oh, Brahma told me he got cursed. And now I cannot die. Nobody can kill me. But what you do, you can bury me alive. In that way, I'll be delivered." So they bury him alive. And then he becomes a Gandharva. Now, the point is same. The point is there is a desire to enjoy, and Lord is destroying that desire to enjoy. How? When we start chanting His holy names. So here Haridas Thakur used to chant the holy name of Lord 300,000 times daily. That is the only method for Kali Yuga. If I want to overcome my desire to enjoy, I want to be little peaceful, I want to be little uh, aloof from all these dangerous things, then we have to take shelter. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You have to take shelter of the holy name. Thereafter, the Brahmana took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing prayers, meditating on the eternal effulgence and chanting the holy Gayatri mantra within his mind, within his mouth. By writing, as one has to take bath after using the toilet, so one has to wash himself with water after sexual intercourse, especially when engaged in a forbidden time. Kashyapuni meditated on the impersonal Brahmajyoti by chanting the Gayatri mantra within his mind. When a Vedic mantra is chanted within the mouth, so that only the chanter can hear, the chanting is called japa. But when the mantra is chanted loudly, it is called kirtan. The Vedic hymns Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare can be chanted both softly to oneself or loudly. Therefore, it is called Mahamantra, the great hymn. Manasik, Vacha, and Japa, there are different ways. And more a person becomes advanced, the more he can, it is without any distraction, he will be able to chant in the mind also. Initially, we are told chant loudly because our mind is very distracted. And a person progresses, he can chant within his, then slowly without much movement of the lips, he will chant. And later on, he can chant in the mind. Whole day is chanting in the mind. It is possible for after practice. You don't get any thought. Like say, now we are getting thoughts. But at one stage, they don't get thoughts. They get only the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Even though they may be doing any activity, but the chanting is going on behind parallel. And Prabhupada Kashyapani appears to be impersonal when he compare his character with that of Haridas Thakur, a reference to above. It is clear that the personalist is stronger in sense control than the impersonalist. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. param drishtva nivartate. One ceases to accept lower grade things when one is situated in a superior condition. One is said to be purified by taking a bath and chanting Gayatri. But the Mahamantra is so powerful that one can chant it loudly or softly in any condition, and he protected from all evils of material existence. This is power. We take Gayatri, we take Diksha of Gayatri just to bring more of goodness to us. But as such, what is needed is we want to transcend it. Of course, Gayatri Mantra also take a living and transcend it. But Kali Yuga, it is recommended of this Hare Krishna Mantra. When one is ashamed of an abominable, sorry, another shloka says, O son of Bharata family, Diti, after this, went near her husband, her face lowered because of her faulty actions. She spoke as follows. She says, Prabhupada saying, when one is ashamed of an abominable action, one naturally becomes down-faced. They came to her senses after the abominable sexual intercourse with her husband. Such sexual intercourse is condemned as prostitution. In other words, sex life with one's wife is equal to prostitution if the regulations are not properly followed. Proper is quite a, if so-called modern liberal people, if they hear this purpose and all, they'll really become very upset with Prabhupada. Of course, Prabhupada is telling the truth, but these people are not ready for the truth. And now what is happening is Kashyap Muni immediately forgives. The beautiful Diti said, My dear Brahmana, kindly see that my embryo is not killed by Lord Shiva, the Lord of all living entities, because of the great offense I have committed against him. Now she knows. One time I associated with my husband, and immediately I have a child, and I want to protect the child. Because they are not unite. This is not happening, anytime, every time, all these things. No, they are very, very self-controlled. Somehow she wanted to have children. She's taking responsibility also. And Prabhupada writing this by Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva had two popular names, Rudra and Ashutosh. He's very prone to anger as well as quickly pacified. Diti knew that because of his being quickly angered, he might spoil the pregnancy she had so unlawfully achieved. But because he was Ashatosh, she implored her Brahmana husband to help her in pacifying Lord Shiva. For her husband was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. In other words, Lord Shiva might have been angry with Diti because she obliged her husband to transgress the laws. But he would not refuse for her husband's prayers. Therefore, the appeal for excuse was submitted through her husband. She prayed to Lord Shiva as follows. Now, here what happens is these people, they are able to understand it very fast. Now there is no taking back. Once you commit a mistake, previous stages, because nowadays people repeat it not knowing what is going to happen. Anyway, they will say, who has seen, who has seen. So let us do whatever we want and we'll think of it later. But who has seen the Shastras and scriptures, they immediately know what is the problem. Here, very nice thing is now Titi, she is weak, but she is also sincere. This is very important. We are weak, but we should have sincerity also. If this is not there, then we'll be in trouble. At least something should be there. At least sincere, Krishna will help. So here Diti, she has some weakness, but she said, okay, I have weakness, I did mistake. Please save me. And Lord is ready. Apichet Sudaracharo, Bhajateva Mananabha, Sadhureva. They are great personalities. And because Kashyap Muni Diti, Lord is choosing them as their parents. That means how much exalted they are. So here such faults for modern, by the present civilization point of view, it is no wrong only. And she is also taking, she is much more better taking responsibility. But still, uh, here, Prabhupada writing, Diti prayed for the mercy. Okay, she says, let me offer my obeisances unto the angry Lord Shiva, who is simultaneously a very ferocious, great demigods and fulfill of all material desires. He is all auspicious and forgiving, but his anger can immediately move him to chastise a wrong. And Prabhupada, Diti prayed for the mercy of Lord Shiva very cleverly. But Prabhupada says, he prayed, the Lord can cause me to cry, but if He likes, He can also stop me crying because He is Ashantosh. He is the greatest that if He likes, He can immediately destroy my pregnancy, but by His mercy, He can also fulfill my desires that His pregnancy be not be spoiled. Because He is all auspicious and it is not difficult for Him to excuse me from being punished. Although He is now ready to punish me because I have aroused his great anger. He appears like a man, but he is the Lord of all men. Now, here the point is Diti, she keeps the womb for 100 years because she knows as soon as whatever is there in my womb comes out, it's a great inauspiciousness and destruction for the world. And she knows that, and that's why she takes it for 100 years. That will come. But what I want to tell is how Diti is not some ordinary woman. And she says, let him be pleased with me since he is my brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, how? Because Sati, who is Diti's youngest sister, he was given in marriage to Lord Shiva. That way they have relation. Husband of my sister Sati, he is the worshipable Lord of all women. He is the personality of all opulence and can show mercy towards men who are excused even by the uncivilized hunters. This Lord Shiva is the husband of Sati, one of the sisters of Diti. Diti invoked the pleasure of her sister Sati, that Sati would request her husband to excuse her. Now she's really feeling scared also that what will happen to. She's not scared about her. She knows they will not do anything to me, but they may destroy my home. Lord Shiva is the worshipful Lord of all women. He's naturally very kind towards women. Oh, he's very one who even the uncivilized hunters also shows his mercy. This is since Lord Shiva is himself associated with women, he knew very well their defective nature. The woman has this emotional state, even though they are balanced, but they are affected by emotions. When emotion affects them, logic don't work, and men will have trouble in that situation. When he goes in extreme, we discussed how, with the help of wife, he is able to control his senses. And here, wife is able to control herself because of her husband. And here it is written that his whomever the uncivilized hunters also shows their mercy, since Lord Shiva is himself associated with women, he knew very well their defective nature and he might not take very seriously this unavoidable offense. which occurred due to her faulty nature. Even virgin girls is supposed to be devotee of Lord Shiva. Didi remembered her childhood worship of Lord Shiva at Vaikuntha. Many of them, even that personalities in that age also worshipped Lord Shiva. So we will end here. Any questions, comments, discussions? They will take a short. Please join tomorrow.